If you're over 60 and you've ever been told that your kidney numbers are not what they used to be, there's something important you should know. Your afternoon snack may matter more than you think, not because one particular food can repair damaged kidneys. It can't, and I would never tell you that a snack can cure chronic kidney disease. But what you eat regularly can affect the amount of sodium, potassium, phosphorus, protein, and other nutrients your body has to manage. When kidney function declines, the kidneys may have more difficulty keeping these substances in a healthy range. That's why kidney-friendly eating has to be personalized rather than based on one universal food list. And this is where many people get confused. They hear one person say, eat more protein. Another says, avoid protein. Someone tells them, never eat fruit. Another says, fruit is healthy. Then they look at their lab report and wonder, so what am I actually supposed to eat? That confusion is understandable. Your kidney diet can change depending on your kidney function, blood potassium, phosphorus levels, medications, diabetes status, and whether you are receiving dialysis. Even protein requirements can change as kidney disease progresses. So today, instead of giving you a frightening list of foods you can supposedly never eat again, we're going to look at 5 snack ideas that can fit into a kidney-conscious eating pattern while also explaining the important details that determine whether they are appropriate for you. And there is one mistake I especially want you to avoid. Assuming that healthy for everyone automatically means healthy for someone with kidney disease. That is not always true. Take potassium, for example. Potassium is an essential mineral that your nerves and muscles need. But when kidney function is reduced, some people may have difficulty removing enough potassium from their blood. Both excessively high and excessively low potassium can cause serious problems, which is why your blood levels matter far more than a generic internet food list. The same principle applies to phosphorus. Healthy kidneys help remove excess phosphorus. With chronic kidney disease, phosphorus can accumulate, potentially affecting bones and blood vessels. And surprisingly, phosphorus additives in processed foods can be an important source, which makes reading ingredient labels extremely valuable. Then there is sodium. This one deserves special attention because salty snacks are incredibly common. Chips, crackers, processed meats, packaged snack foods, and heavily seasoned convenience foods can contribute substantial amounts of sodium. Too much sodium can cause the body to retain fluid and can increase blood pressure, putting additional stress on the cardiovascular system and kidneys. So the first lesson is simple. A kidney-friendly snack isn't just about what food you're eating. It's also about the portion, the preparation, and what's written on the label. And that brings us to the 5 snacks. We'll look at options that can be nutritious and practical, but I want you to keep one rule in mind throughout this video. Your lab results decide what kidney-friendly means for you. If your doctor has told you that your potassium or phosphorus is high, if you're on dialysis, or if you have advanced kidney disease, don't make major dietary changes based on a YouTube video alone. A renal dietitian or your healthcare professional can match your food plan to your actual laboratory results and treatment, because your kidneys don't need another internet rule. They need a plan that fits you. The simple choice that can make a big difference. Now let's get into the first snack. And before we do, remember the most important rule from part 1. There is no single snack that is automatically safe for every person with kidney disease. Your potassium, phosphorus, sodium, kidney function, medications, and treatment plan all matter. That said, one category that can be useful for many people is fresh fruit in an appropriate portion. Why fresh fruit? Because when you're looking for an afternoon snack, it can be a much better starting point than highly processed foods loaded with sodium and phosphorus additives. But here's where things get interesting. You might be thinking, wait, I thought people with kidney disease had to avoid fruit. Not necessarily. Some people with chronic kidney disease do need to limit potassium, while others don't. That's why your blood potassium level and your healthcare professional's advice matter. NIDC specifically recommends working with a healthcare professional or dietitian to determine how much potassium is appropriate for you. So rather than telling everyone to eat a particular fruit, I want you to learn a more useful skill. Look at the entire snack, not just the food name. Imagine 2 afternoon snacks. The first is a highly processed packaged snack. It may look convenient, but once you check the nutrition label, you might find a considerable amount of sodium. And if the ingredient list contains additives with phos in their names, that can be another reason to pause if phosphorus is something you're being asked to monitor. The second option is a modest portion of fresh fruit with a food that fits your individual nutrition plan. The difference isn't about calling one food good and another bad. It's about understanding what your kidneys are being asked to manage. And there is another mistake I want you to avoid. Don't confuse fruit with fruit juice. Whole fruit generally contains fiber, while juice can make it much easier to consume a concentrated amount of natural sugar without that same structure. For someone managing diabetes or blood sugar along with kidney disease, that distinction can be especially important. Now let's talk about portions. One of the biggest problems with online kidney food advice is that people hear a food is healthy and assume that unlimited amounts must therefore be healthy. That's not how kidney nutrition works. Portion size matters. A food that fits your individual plan in a modest serving may not fit that same plan in a very large serving. And this applies to every snack we're discussing. So here's your practical takeaway. When you choose a fruit-based snack, start with the amount your healthcare professional or renal dietitian has recommended for you. If you have been told to restrict potassium, ask specifically which fruits and serving sizes fit your plan, then check what you're pairing it with. Avoid turning a simple fruit snack into a processed food meal by adding salty packaged toppings or heavily processed ingredients. And remember something else that is easy to overlook. Fresh isn't always automatically better if your particular lab results say otherwise. Your kidney diet should follow your numbers, not an internet trend. If you're already monitoring potassium, phosphorus, sodium, or protein, keep your latest lab results available when discussing your food choices with your healthcare professional, because the goal isn't to make you afraid of food. The goal is to make your food choices more informed, and there's another snack coming next that shows exactly why this matters. It's a familiar food that many people already have at home, but the preparation method can completely change what ends up on your plate. The preparation trick most people miss. Now let's move to the second snack. And this one is important because it teaches you something bigger than simply adding another food to your grocery list. Preparation matters. A food can look completely different on paper depending on how it is prepared, what you add to it, and how much you actually eat. One example worth discussing is potatoes. Potatoes naturally contain potassium, so they are not automatically appropriate for everyone with chronic kidney disease. If your healthcare professional has told you to restrict potassium, you may have been advised to limit potatoes or prepare them in a particular way, but there is a technique called leaching that can reduce some of the potassium in certain vegetables, including potatoes. Here's the basic idea. Potassium is water-soluble. When certain vegetables are cut into smaller pieces and soaked or cooked in water, some potassium can move from the food into that water. But there is an important detail. You don't simply cook the potato and then drink the cooking water. The water containing the potassium needs to be discarded, and this is exactly why preparation matters. If potatoes fit your personal kidney meal plan, one approach is to peel and cut them into smaller pieces, soak them in water, drain them, and then cook them in fresh water. Your renal dietitian or healthcare professional can tell you whether this technique is appropriate for your potassium level and how frequently you can include potatoes. And I want to emphasize something here because this is where internet health videos can become dangerous. Leaching does not magically turn potatoes into a zero potassium food. It reduces potassium. It does not eliminate it. So if your potassium level is high or you've been given a strict potassium restriction, don't interpret this as permission to eat unlimited potatoes. Instead, think of leaching as a food preparation tool that may help some people fit certain foods into a personalized kidney diet. Now let's talk about what you can do with the potato afterward. You don't need to cover it with salt or a processed sauce. Instead, if those ingredients fit your dietary plan, use simple flavoring such as herbs, lemon, garlic, or a small amount of an appropriate oil. Why avoid automatically reaching for the salt shaker? Because sodium matters too. Your kidneys help maintain the balance of sodium and fluid in your body. Excess sodium can contribute to fluid retention and higher blood pressure, both of which are especially important concerns for people with chronic kidney disease. And here's a simple habit I want you to remember. Don't judge a snack by its first ingredient. Read the entire label. A plain food can become a very different snack once manufacturers add sauces, seasoning mixes, preservatives, or other ingredients. If you're watching phosphorus, pay attention to ingredient lists and look for additives containing phos. Processed foods can contain phosphorus additives that are readily absorbed by the body. This is why a simple homemade snack can sometimes be easier to manage than a packaged snack. You control what goes into it. You control how much salt you add, and you control the portion. But there's another reason I don't want you to become overly restrictive. Older adults with kidney disease still need adequate nutrition. Depending on your stage of kidney disease and your health situation, your protein needs may be different from someone else's. So don't suddenly eliminate entire food groups because you saw a scary headline. The goal isn't to eat as little as possible. The goal is to eat appropriately for your kidneys and your overall health. And this brings us to the third snack. It's something many people associate with healthy eating, but kidney disease can make the question much more complicated. You may have heard that nuts are healthy, but are all nuts equally suitable when you're managing kidney disease? That's where things get interesting. The final snacks plus mistakes you should avoid. Now we come to the part that can make your everyday snacking much easier, because kidney-friendly eating isn't about finding one magical food. It's about learning how to choose, portion, prepare, and combine foods according to your own kidney function. Let's talk about nuts first. Nuts can provide healthy fats, calories, and other nutrients, but they can also contain significant amounts of potassium and phosphorus. So if your kidney specialist has asked you to restrict either of these minerals, you should not assume that every nut is automatically a good choice. This is one reason a personalized food plan is so important. Instead of asking, "Are nuts good or bad for kidneys?" ask, "Which nuts, what portion, and how often fit my lab results?" That's a much better question. And when you buy nuts, there is another simple rule. Choose unsalted whenever possible. Salted nuts can add unnecessary sodium to your diet, and sodium is something many people with chronic kidney disease need to monitor carefully. Now let's move to another excellent snack category: fresh vegetables. Vegetables can provide fiber and important nutrients, but once again, potassium changes the conversation. For example, cauliflower is often used as an alternative to higher potassium foods because it can fit into many kidney-friendly eating patterns. You can turn plain cauliflower into a simple snack or side dish without loading it with salt. Try roasting it with a small amount of olive oil and herbs, or chop it finely and use it as a rice-style alternative. But remember, your potassium allowance determines whether and how much you should eat. If your potassium is high, don't assume that because something is a vegetable, you can eat in limited quantities. That's one of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to improve their diet. They replace processed food with large amounts of a healthy food without checking whether that food fits their kidney plan. And here's mistake number 2, ignoring the ingredient list. You may buy a food that looks perfectly healthy from the front of the package, then you turn it around. Suddenly you see added sodium, phosphate additives, or other ingredients you weren't expecting. That's why I recommend making one small habit part of every grocery trip. Turn the package around before you put it in your cart. Check the nutrition facts, then check the ingredient list. If phosphorus is something you're monitoring, watch for ingredients containing the word phos. Phosphorus additives are commonly found in processed foods and can be absorbed efficiently. Mistake number 3, assuming a food is safe because someone online called it kidney-friendly. This is perhaps the most important lesson of the entire video. Your kidney diet isn't determined by your age alone. It can depend on your egg for potassium, phosphorus, sodium, medications, diabetes, blood pressure, stage of kidney disease, and whether you're on dialysis. 2 people can both be over 60 and have completely different dietary needs, so please don't copy another person's kidney diet just because it worked for them. Mistake number 4, changing your protein intake without professional guidance. Some people with chronic kidney disease may need too moderate protein, while people on dialysis may have different protein requirements, and older adults also need enough nutrition to help maintain muscle and overall health. So don't suddenly eliminate protein because you heard that protein is bad for the kidneys. Discuss your individual protein target with your healthcare professional or renal dietitian. And finally, mistake number 5, trying to change everything overnight. You don't need to throw away your entire kitchen tonight. Start with one habit. Maybe it's choosing a less processed afternoon snack. Maybe it's checking sodium on labels. Maybe it's asking your doctor what your latest potassium and phosphorus numbers mean. Maybe it's learning whether leaching vegetables is appropriate for your diet. One small change that you actually maintain is much more useful than a perfect plan you abandon after 3 days. And before you finish this video, I want you to remember these 5 simple rules. Number 1, know your kidney numbers. Number 2, don't assume every healthy food is automatically kidney-friendly. Number 3, pay attention to sodium, potassium, phosphorus, and portion size. Number 4, read both the nutrition label and ingredient list. Number 5, make major dietary changes with your doctor or renal dietitian, especially if you have advanced kidney disease, high potassium, or you're receiving dialysis. Your kidneys have been filtering your blood every day for years. You don't need a miracle food. You need consistent, informed choices that fit your individual health needs. So before you leave, choose one snack habit you're going to improve this week, and tell me in the comments, are you over 60, and which kidney-friendly snack would you like us to discuss in the next video? If this video helped you understand kidney nutrition a little more clearly, like the video and subscribe for more simple senior health information. And remember, don't let a confusing lab report make you feel helpless. Learn your numbers, ask questions, and work with your healthcare team to build a plan that fits you. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.